Welcome to This Week in Baseball Player Profiles as we profile the class of 2017. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you. I appreciate all you guys coming in this morning. So for the people that are watching, please introduce yourselves and what college you guys go to.
My name is Baxley. I go to Southwestern Oklahoma State.
My name's Denk, and I go to University of Nebraska at Omaha.
My name's Postlethwait, and I go to Southwestern Oklahoma State.
Okay, so you guys grew up playing here. In your class of 2017, we had 35 guys sign, which was the biggest class in Wichita. This year it got surpassed. With the merger of 316 and us merging together, class got a little bit bigger, but we had 42 guys signed even in a COVID year. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just shows kind of the advancements that the program has made in the days that we were here, and I think that's been, what, 3-4 years now, so I think that just shows Wichita baseball is on the rise, and there's good kids here, and there's talent to be seen, so.
I think it shows consistency, like over the past few years, and I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but pretty good, and it's crazy during COVID.
I think it kind of shows what you can do as a recruiter, getting kids who, even during a COVID year, might not have a school to go to, what elite recruiting consultants can actually do for you.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Each of you played at different JUCOs. Why don't you each, what school you went to for JUCO and tell us about your experience there.
I went to Allen County. It's in southeast Kansas, Iowa, Kansas. It was a good experience. My coach, Coach Stoy, he gave me an opportunity as a freshman just to go out, and he took a risk. And I ended up starting 10 games. Not the greatest numbers, but I learned from it. Sophomore year was a lot better for me, and grew up, matured a lot. JUCO will do a lot to you, make you into a man. So.
Harrison?
I went to BARTON Community College, and I think that was personally just a great fit for me. Same with Nate, I was able to battle for a position right away. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from junior college is just like, you're gonna struggle, the struggles are gonna happen, and you're able to learn from that, or it's gonna sink you. So the best thing that you can do is just embrace the struggle and work as hard as you can to get through, and good things will happen.
And you made it to the College World Series.
We did.
How was that experience for you there?
It was a great experience. I mean, just that team, a lot of Kansas kids in general, so being able to play with all them and go out to Grand Junction and be able to compete against some of the top teams in the country, experience I'll never forget, no doubt.
And Zach?
I went to HUTCHINSON Community College. I think junior college really taught me that I really wasn't that good. I knew I wasn't good to go in to junior college, but then when I got there, I realized that everyone was a lot better than me. And so it kind of taught me that even though I was working what I thought was hard, that I had to actually put time into the weight room, like actually eat a lot more. So I was like 170 pounds. Ended up getting up to 200 pounds, so that really helped me a lot. And being versatile helped me. I ended up breaking my thumb my freshman year, and I was a catcher going in. Ended up moving to first base, and so it kind of allowed me to play.
Well, while at Hutch, you guys 2 years in a row led the nation, well, top 5 in the nation in strikeouts, but you're also a top 5 in the nation in home runs. And I know you're aware of this, and maybe you're not. There's only 39 players in the history of Hutch that had over 100 hits, and you're one of the 39. I think you finished with 112, 115 total hits, so that's pretty impressive for someone that didn't feel like they belonged yet.
Yeah,
that was pretty impressive.
I think really being around the guys who were a lot better than me, because I was around guys who are going to get drafted probably in top 10 rounds, like Zane Schmidt, he goes to Texas A&M, Logan Sartori, Texas A&M, Dylan Nedved, University of Iowa. Being around those guys who are actually like really good at the game helps you a lot.
Right. Okay, so last season with COVID, and your guys' season ended abruptly, how did that affect you emotionally or mentally? Because you guys all were having good seasons. How did that affect you guys? Zach, go with you first.
I think mentally, I kind of just like lost a little bit of love towards the game of baseball. Like when it first happened, I was like, well, now I have nothing to really focus on. So like for my life, I was just like, well, what am I gonna do? And then I kind of started getting into like working on myself more. So I think the COVID season actually helped me mentally after the fact, because I was able to focus on myself and not necessarily what I'm gonna do for baseball.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with Zach. I was a little bit lost kind of at first because like we spend our whole lives playing spring baseball, and to have that taken away just in March, 14 games in, is kind of just kind of a kick in the gut a little bit to, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way as me. But I think COVID can teach you a lot, or you can kind of just take a step back and really lose a little bit. So I think the biggest thing COVID taught me is you got to work on your own. You got to spend time working on yourself and bettering yourself during that time, and I think that's kind of what I focused on. So,
Nate?
I think that, I mean, everybody's gonna say COVID changed their career, but I think it really changed mine. Because this past summer and like during quarantine, I really grew as a baseball player and a person. My career completely flipped. From transferring, finding the school is for me. It bettered me in a way that I didn't think it would, and I mean, I'm thankful for that. But yeah, it sucks that our season got canceled, and it sucks that our spring is up in the air, kind of. But,
Okay. Well, I think you guys are going to play. How do you think your teams are going to do this year? What do you think, Nate?
I think we're going to be pretty solid. Group of guys that we have is a very good group of guys. There's no cancer, no what would you say, outcast.
Yeah.
great team chemistry.
Yeah, great team chemistry. We play together well. The fall was really chippy. We got really competitive. I love being around them, and I think we're gonna be pretty solid.
Yeah, same with us. So COVID, we actually had a lot of guys take the extra year of eligibility and come back. So we've got a lot of really good options no matter where we are. Our depth is really good. So I'm excited team-wise to see how we do. We finished 10-4 in our 14 games last year. I think that was the best start in school history through 14 games. And so we open up at Oregon. So we got our hands full to start. So I'm excited to see where things go. So.
And Zach, I know Nate answered the question for the team, so I'm going to pose you a different question. There's 219 Division II teams in the country. You guys are ranked 62 to open up the season. What do you think?
It's not very good. Everyone wants to be number one, and so I think if we think about the opinions of other coaches, we're not going to get where we want to be.
Just got to improve a little bit more.
Got to get a lot better.
Okay. So what are you guys doing now to get ready for the season? What are you guys doing?
Like baseball wise?
Yeah, whatever. How are you preparing to get ready?
Actually, just threw my first bullpen. What was it? Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, first bullpen on Saturday. Really good bullpen. Just getting ready body wise in the weight room and every day, and eating right too. It's pretty important.
Okay.
But,
Harrison?
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off Nate here. The biggest thing I've kind of tried to focus on is just getting my body back in the right shape, eating good, drinking a lot of water each and every day, lifting, and then obviously focusing on my swing. Kind of the mental side of the game as well too. That kind of gets overlooked sometimes with how much failure is a problem and how it's dealt with. So I've kind of tried to look at maybe some of the aspects of the game that I didn't really focus on before as much. So that's kind of been my plan.
That's good. Zach?
So kind of like Harrison said, the whole mental side of the game. I think for me, like in years past, when I focused solely on baseball, like my whole life was baseball, then I feel like I did worse in the game. And so for me, it's almost like taking a step back and doing things to get my mind off the game kind of helps me more. So doing other things like, I don't know, starting a YouTube channel is kind of fun. Just doing whatever, just different types of things, focusing on things outside of baseball helped me.
Okay. What would you say We'll go with Harrison on this one first. What's the biggest difference between high school and college that first day? What's the biggest difference?
Biggest difference is probably the talent level. You get to college, and I mean, in high school, like we all three went to high school together. We were probably the top guys around, and especially on that team. And then so you go to the next level, and just the talent level around you, everybody is kind of your same talent level, and then from there, it's what do you do from there? It's either you take a step back or you use the talent around you to get better, and you use that as competition. And
Right.
I feel like, as well as kind of just the speed of the game, it's a little bit different. A lot more focus needs to be put in, and you got to play first pitch to the last out. And so I think biggest difference is just talent level and then speed of the game, and how are you gonna mesh with that? So.
Zach?
I think the biggest difference walking in day one is that there's actual men in the room. Like these dudes are 18 years old, but they're like grown men already. Like they're huge. And so you walk in, and if you're not prepared for that, you're gonna be the smallest dude in there, and you're not gonna be able to compete with these dudes. And so I think the coaching level too is a little bit different between high school and college. The coaches care a lot more, I feel like, in a sense, because their main goal is to win. And so they don't care, like in high school, like coaches can care for you. Like don't get me wrong, college coaches care for you, but the only way they feed their family is if they win. And so they don't really care about your feelings as much as high school coaches. And so I learned that really quick, that it's not about coaches calling you, it's about winning.
Right. And Nate, now yours is a little different because you're a pitcher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're position players, so it's a little different. How was that for you, the biggest change? Because I
kind of read my mind, actually.
Because, well, real quick, sorry to interrupt you on that, but because like in high school, you knew when you were going to pitch.
Yeah.
You kind of knew, all right, we got 4 games this week. Our toughest opponents is this. That's who I'm pitching against. But in college, you know, if you're not the weekend dude, you don't know when you're going to pitch. If you're a reliever, you just don't know. How is that with you, with that transition from high school to college?
That's kind of stressful, but that, like as I was saying earlier, that's kind of where I grew up. As in, like in the summer playing for the Diamond Dogs, we had a ton of dudes that could pitch. And years before, Pat will always joke with me and say, "You're my number one guy." But we had a dude from Mesa, Trevor Reynolds, that was like 96, 98 with a banger, and I'm not your dude, Pat. So, and I don't know, like I didn't know exactly when I was going to start, but I ended up getting innings, whatever. But that is pretty stressful. It definitely makes you grow up. But what I was going to say is that the talent level in high school, like piggybacking off of him, there are teams that are not very good,
Right.
and that's just straight up facts. But in college, it is very rare to find a team that doesn't have a 1 through 4 or 1 through 5. And being a pitcher, working through a team's 1 through 5, that 1 through 5 can beat you, and very easily, and it's tough. And then you get a team, I mean, like us, that are 1 through 9 can swing it, and they put up 20 runs in inter squad, and you're up there giving up 4 runs an inning, and you're just like, wow, I probably should quit. But I mean, it's definitely a change.
Right.
There's a bunch of good players.
It's tougher.
Yeah.
A little tougher.
And it's supposed to be.
And it's supposed to be. And it's tough to play as a freshman.
Right.
And fortunately, all 3 of you did it. It's not easy. It's not easy. We know quite a few players that were some of the better players here in Wichita, went on to college that didn't play. Ended up quitting or didn't play till their sophomore year. You know, you didn't get a lot of at bats like you guys did, or you didn't get a lot of innings like you did. It is tough. It is really, really tough at that level. So when baseball's all done, and you guys graduate from college, what do you want to do?
My major is exercise science. I'd really like to get involved in a big league program and eventually become a strength coach in a program like that. Or, I mean, maybe not even use my major and progress through a big league program, because I know people, but that's besides the point. But I'd like to be like maybe a scout or just work my way up in that fashion. I think that'd be really cool.
Okay. Harrison?
Obviously for me, I want to play baseball as long as I can and just see how far that takes me. But I think eventually I'm going to look at going into like a medical sales type deal and see what I can do in the medical sales field and see how far I can go there.
Okay.
So,
Is that?
I just want to be a strength coach.
Very straight to the point. Okay, straight to the point. Well, last year, on our trip to the ABCA, we decided to do the all-decade team. And all you guys made the all-decade team at Sluggers. What do you think about that? Now, I'm going to tell you this, not trying to be biased or anything, but the 2000 to 2010 class would probably destroy the 2011 to 2020 class, I'm just saying. But what do you think about that? How do you guys feel about that, being nominated and put on that, Zach?
I think it's pretty cool. I really just wanted to be on there and be better than my brother. That's all I really cared about. Being an all-decade team with these guys is cool there. So we grew up and played high school together, so I thought that was cool. And I don't think we would lose to that 2000 group, only because we're competitors. Not that they aren't, but I know what we can do.
All right, Harrison?
I'm very honored to be on that all-decade team, just to be able to play with these guys, and it just made baseball so much fun. And like, you play better when you're having fun, so and when you're around great dudes every day. And I just looked forward to going and playing every weekend, and whether it was down in Oklahoma or here at Kansas playing at colleges or whatever it was, I just had a blast playing, and obviously had a great coach in Mark Staniford, and was just blessed to be around some of the people that we had here at Sluggers during our time. So,
Nate?
Yeah, I feel honored to be on that all-decade team. Like you said, having a coach like Mark Staniford and you to help too, that made the game pretty easy for us. No pressure, and it was a good time.
Okay.
Glad I was on that team.
What could you tell a high school player right now who's getting ready to go to college, so a 2021 kid, what would you give him as some advice?
Go in level-headed and kind of keep your head low. Don't be the guy that, because every team has a group meet, don't be a guy that like says a lot of stuff in the group meet. That's one big thing that I'd say. Because that guy is not the guy that everybody, you don't want to be him. But
Unless you're already the dude.
yeah, unless you're a dude. Unless they know you're a dude.
Yeah. Harris?
Going into college, I would just say, kind of like Nate said, just be humble, just thankful for the opportunity, and just take every chance you can, and work hard. That's the biggest thing.
I got to add on, before Zach says it, nobody cares what you did in high school.
Yeah.
That's a big
You
thing.
get made fun of if you talk about your high school stuff.
Nobody cares.
All right, Zach, what do you got?
Looking back from my experience, and I was talking to Harrison about this before we got started, when I go back and look at my old videos of like what I was as a player and like watch me hit, or even how big I wasn't very big. And so if you're sitting there wondering why this school is not looking at me, why this school is not looking at me, there's probably a reason why. It's probably because you're one, probably not very good, and everyone will realize that at one point that you're not very good. And then two, you're probably not very big, and so they don't want you anyways. And so my advice would be, some schools looking at you that may not be the best school, but it could be the fit for you, because we all wish we could have went to the same school together, but it wouldn't have been the right fit for us. So you have to find a school where you're going to go in, you're going to try to fit in and be able to actually play.
Good advice, good advice. So younger players, and I'm talking about kids getting ready to go into high school. What advice do you have for them?
Have fun with it, because it goes pretty fast. I remember back in the A's days when I was playing Butler County Yankees, and that was so fun, and it goes by so fast. The 2 years that we all spent together, that was gone.
Yeah. I think if you're in middle school going into high school, there's not really much you can do. Whether, like for me, it's kind of weird looking back at it. It's almost like play for just because you play for a certain summer team, that doesn't mean that you're better than the next guy. And so you always got to go in there trying to keep getting better, and maybe one day get on the varsity team and beat out the guy that's ahead of you that's possibly older than you.
Harrison?
Yeah, I think kind of just you got to have fun with it. Those are the years that I mean, you can either burn yourself out or you can extend your career in those years, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to obviously have fun with it. Another thing, just work in other sports. Do other sports. It's good to do other activities. It's great for just the camaraderie and just being able to build strength in other ways. And I think it's good to just focus on other things as well as baseball, and always just look for an opportunity to get better.
Okay.
So.
So outside of baseball, what hobbies do you guys have?
I like to lift weight and
Lift weight?
Lift
Just one
weight.
honestly,
I like playing Call of Duty.
I like video games. Taking creatine, everybody should do that. It's probably about it. It's really all I do.
Harrison?
I like to go hunting, as you guys obviously know. I'm a big hunter. I just love being in the outdoors, hanging out with friends, working out from time to time. Yeah, I mean, just maximizing my opportunities.
Okay.
So.
Zach?
I look forward to taking a big old fat scoop of pre-workout every day. That's my main hobby. Yeah.
Is it a dry scoop or no?
It depends on the day. Some days I'm feeling like mix it in. Some days I just throw it in my mouth.
Yeah, it really depends. If you're
So that's a
feeling like,
hobby?
Yeah, it's a hobby. Yeah.
if you feel like an absolute savage, you chew it out.
Yeah. Chew that.
Unbelievable. All right, so who's your favorite Major League Baseball team? Zach?
Go ahead and say the Atlanta Braves, only because the Tano Baxley, this guy right here, took me to the playoff game, so that was pretty sick, and it was really fun to go to.
Harrison?
I'd say my favorite team's probably the Royals, just a team I grew up watching a lot and kind of suffered through the hardships with them. And in 2015 and actually 2014 as well, we were able to have some pretty good years and fun to watch. And
Right.
hopefully now with a couple off-season moves, we're getting back to those days again. So
There you go.
I'm
Nate?
a big Boston Red Sox guy. If you haven't been to Fenway, probably should go. I was a fan when they weren't good, and I was a fan when they won it. So,
There you go. Who's your favorite player?
Max Scherzer,
Why is that?
because he's crazy, and I would love to emulate him, but you can't be someone. So I try to be myself as much as possible, but everything I can do to be like him.
Okay. Harrison?
I'd probably say Derek Jeter, honestly. Just, I know that's kind of cliche, but just the way he went about everything and just the way he played the game. It was never about what his personal accolades. It was about how he could make the team better each and every day and be the best player he could for the people around him. So
Now, I'll give you a little story too. When I was at the ABCA last year, one of the players that was coaching, Derek Jeter, one of the coaches, he was telling us that they had to do their drills 7 minutes at a time
okay,
because Jeter would get bored
damn.
if they did it more than 7 minutes. Or sorry, 8 minutes. 8 minutes at a time. They do everything 8 minutes at a time, then they switch to something else because he said Derek would get bored.
Yeah.
So they have to change it.
Because he's so damn good at
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. So they have to change the drill and go do something else.
That's awesome.
They just did it rapid
Yep.
practices and got done quick. Zach?
I have a nickname at school. It's Bad Bax, and you get it from Mad Max. So Max Scherzer. It's not necessarily my favorite player, but I do like his fire in the game. Kind of gets me going. So Bad Bax and Mad Max. Kind of. I'd love to play with them one day. It'd be sick. We'd be a crazy duo.
That's all.
Okay, so last thing here. I know you guys gave out a lot of good information and a lot of good advice. What else could you say to whether it's parents, coaches, that are coaching their own kid right now, or players, give me something for each of them. Zach.
So, I think if you're a parent and your kid gets to high school, I know when I was in high school, I had to deal with it a lot. It's just, if you're on the outside looking in, you don't know what's going on at practice. So you might think your kid's really good, he might be better than the guy on varsity, but I promise you there's no politics playing in with the coaches. Your kid probably just isn't better than the guy, and it all starts with practice. So I wouldn't be calling the school if you're a parent. It just looks bad on your kid, and it's kind of embarrassing for him. And so as a parent looking in, just let your kid be a kid and let him play whatever he's doing.
Okay. Harrison, you got anything?
I think from a parent standpoint, like my dad coached me basically my whole life, and I mean, still does to this day. It's just important to kind of listen to what your kid has to say and kind of the body language that they're giving off. And I know as a parent that can be hard because you obviously want the best for your kid and you want to be involved as much as possible. But I think my dad did a good job of just being kind of hard on me in the beginning, and as you get older and you start to appreciate those things, and that's kind of when I think in high school, that's when he started kind of backing off and just realizing, wow, maybe he actually knows what's going on, knows what's best. And like, that's when I started to really excel, is like, we would finally just start collabing with each other and understanding kind of where we were at, and he would jump in if he thought he saw something, and maybe if I was kind of struggling and he sat back and watched, he would say something to me. But I think, yeah, I had a really good just upcoming and upbringing with the coaches and honestly all the parents around us growing up. So good stuff.
Nate?
Just like every other kid that plays baseball, my dad was the first pitching coach I ever had, but he was a good coach for me, just as a coach solely. When I got to high school, he kind of leaned off a little bit, allowed the coaches around me to do it, especially when I got under Mark Stanford and you and the pitching coaches that gave me lessons and stuff. When I got to college, all he cared about was how I felt, and that was he did a very good job with that. I'd say one of my biggest pet peeves is when I'm in here like throwing with Zach, and there's a little 9-year-old kid, and he swings and misses or just doesn't do good, and his dad rips him a new one, and like, what's the point?
Right.
Dude's gonna end up hating baseball by the time he's 12. So stop doing that.
Right.
Let him have fun, because from 9 to 12 or 14, unless you're Griffin McBride, you're not gonna hit a ton of tanks. So or Nate Scanlon. So, just let him have fun with the game and kind of back off a little bit,
Well, gentlemen, I want to tell you this. I coached you guys for a few years. I had the privilege of coaching you in high school, at Andale. It was an honor of mine to be around you three, see you guys develop, grow up, be the young men that you guys are becoming. It's a pleasure of mine, and I have to say that, I mean that. I will tell you this, I wish, not just to go back in time, obviously, to see you guys play some more, but I wish the kids and the people that are watching the show could see your work ethic and what you guys put in all the years that you were here trying to get ready to go to college. Do what you did to go to college, because we've never shied away from anybody. We played anybody. I don't care, in the Midwest, we just lace them up and go. You guys were not only on the all-decade team, but you were part of the youngest team ever to make the NBC, the first one to do it, which is, it's an honor. And then you beat a college team. I think that truly helped us the next year when we played all college teams and we finished 40 games, 20 and 20, and made the NBC. Again, over again, which is very impressive. And it started with you three guys, and there's a few other kids that definitely I can name that were part of that group that are playing ball now at other colleges. But again, I thank all three of you for all your work and all the effort that you did, everything that you've done. Continue to grow in this game. Always know you can always make a phone call here, you can always show up, but continue to grow, become the men that you want to be, and then pass it on to the next group. Always keep that in mind, because you can always help someone else out and get them to achieve what they want to do, like you guys did. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay. That concludes this week in baseball player profiles. I want to thank Elite Recruiting Consultants for sponsoring today's show. Have a good day.